Alrighty, number one, it says using f of x equals cosine of x as a guide graph, g of x equals 3 times the cosine of 4x. Identify the amplitude and period. Let's start with that. Amplitude and period, on that cheat sheet that you were given, you've got your general form is a times the cosine of b times x. So our a value in this case is 3, our b value is 4. The amplitude is just your a value, so the amplitude is just going to be 3. The period we calculate by doing 2 pi over the absolute value of your b. Now in this case it's a positive b value, so we can just ignore the absolute value. It's always going to be the positive version of your b value, so it's already positive. So we got 2 pi over 4, which reduces to pi over 2. Taking this piece by piece, this is a cosine graph. Now I'm going to use the word start, again pretty loosely, but on the y-axis it starts off at its highest amplitude. So I'm going to say it starts off up here at 3, if we're going 1, 2, 3. Now the period is the distance that it takes for it to complete a full wave. In other words, it's going to go from that highest point down and all the way back to its highest point by the time it gets to pi over 2. So between 0 and pi over 2, it's going to complete one full wave. So again, it's going to get back to that exact same spot. Now halfway between those two, it's going to reach its lowest spot. So it's going to reach its lowest negative amplitude. To help us make this graph a little bit better, we can also put the x-intercepts, which are halfway between the crests and the troughs, the peaks and the valleys, if you will. Now we're going to get this pattern repeating over and over and over. So our crests, our highest points, are going to be evenly spread out in both directions. So every other tick mark on this case. Our troughs are going to be evenly spread out. Same thing. Oops, not there, sorry. And our x-intercepts are just going to be halfway between every tick mark on the eighths. Now these graphs are kind of narrow, so we're going to do our best to draw the nice smooth cosine curve. So it's going to go down and curve through and back up and go about there. I'm going to have to do this piece by piece, otherwise if I make a mess I'd have to go back and erase a lot of it. So just repeat that wave over. Oh, that was bad. Let's try that again. Over and over and over. I always have a hard time with these narrower cosine or sine graphs. Really, any narrow graph is a little challenging, but do your best. I'm getting a little lazier as I'm going along here, but just do your best to not make it like a straight line going between them. Really, it's not that bad of a graph, but it could be better. Oh well.